Hey everyone and Happy New Year! Last night I wanted to build the last apartment of the year and I was inspired to do a cottagecore aesthetic, so I based it all on this swatch of this beautiful bed from Horse Ranch, and I am using a lot of yellow, some green, and mostly light and happy colors, so I wanted to use these counters as well. And this fridge from Cottage Living, I think that they are very cute. I don't keep this swatch because it was a bit pale and cold next to that warm yellow, so I ended up going with beige appliances in the end, but I'm very happy with this apartment. I think it's very cozy. One thing that I didn't love about it though is how tall these walls are, so I think it would have been a lot cozier if it was at least medium wall height. And it's also an TLC apartment. This is where Salim Ben Ali normally lives. It's 910 Medina Studios, but I was able to have a pretty spacious one-bedroom apartment. I really liked it. I also decided to hide the normal door inside a very small room, so I decided to have a fake front door instead. So I am using one from Strangerville, which has some yellow, and I thought that was very nice. I'm using yellow Strangerville doors everywhere, and I also really like this archway. This is from Growing Together, and yeah, that's what I mean when I say that I really would have preferred this to have walls that were a lot shorter. But I think it worked out in the end. I also don't end up using the Growing Together windows because I changed them for Strangerville windows. They were a bit bigger and they felt like they would maybe feel the wall a bit better. I think that this is going to look ridiculous from the outside though, so yeah, I decided that wasn't something that I really cared about in this build. But I also got to use some of the items from the Cozy Kitchen kit, like those chairs. I really like that. And we have a small desk nook in here. I think that this is a very spacious main living space, and you could probably have a smaller kitchen or a kitchen with a smaller table and have a living room in here, and so you could also have another bedroom where I have the living room. But I just really wanted to have a one-bedroom apartment, just a very simple space, maybe for one sim or a couple, and I also really liked how I have a small kind of gallery wall in here. This is a picture from Lost Truck. I just really like the flowers on it. And the other one is from Cottage Living, and they look so great together. I also decided to fill in that gap just adding a clock, and I think I actually struggled a bit with this desk because I didn't really know what to clutter it with, and the clutter that I was adding kind of didn't fit in the spaces that I had for it. So I cut out a lot of that, but we'll come back to that corner. And in here I just really wanted to have a mirror, a trash can and stuff. I wasn't really loving how the fridge didn't have any sort of wall or anything next to it, so I actually added a hutch, but that was much later. For now we're just expanding the kitchen and adding those windows that I had mentioned. These I think are a lot nicer and they match the doors because they're from the same pack. And we are going to start cluttering the kitchen because I also think that we don't finish it at the moment. But I really wanted to have the utensils from Horse Ranch and just a kettle and that kind of thing. I really like that platter with the fruit and the pitcher. It's from the Artist Studio kit, as well as the ladder that I have next to the desk. I think that those are very nice items and not necessarily for artists, so they might be my favorite items from the kit, even if I'm an artist, so I really relate to those items and I really love that kit. But yeah, now we're back in the desk and we're going to be adding this hand. It's like a witchy hand from Paranormal. I really like how it fits on top of these books. And I really like having the pen and ink. I also added the book from Werewolves, this one that has also more ink and some parchment. And I ended up moving these vases with flowers on top of these ladder. I also have some books in here, so that is a functional bookshelf. I added a few more books in different places, but they are all decorative except for that one. And now we're in the bathroom, which was a room that took me so long to decorate. So I also cut out a lot of these because I rearranged stuff a lot. So this was the basic idea, but at some point I thought that it would be a nice thing to have a litter box in here. Because I really wanted this sim to have a pet, but I realized I wasn't going to be able to fit a bathtub, so I just have the litter box instead. And I also changed the shower, I changed the sink. I think this is what worked best because that way I could have the toilet paper on the other wall. and it didn't look completely ridiculous, but I really like how I added that cabinet from Crystal Creations on top of the toilet. I think I sized it down because by default it's a bit large. I don't know if I have ever used it on its normal size, so... But yeah, I just wanted to have some towels. I thought about having a rug that looks like a ship. I didn't dislike it, but it felt a bit too cartoony for this space. So I ended up going back to the rug from high school years that we had here originally, and I also decided to have some tile in here, and I think that worked out nicely for this space. I also changed the flooring in here, and I had also picked this entryway mat. This is from the event rewards that we have at the moment. If you haven't played that, I would recommend that you do, because some of the rewards are really nice. I'm also using the gaming console and the TV in here, so yeah, I'm very happy with it. And for example, this watch is not as seasonal as the other ones, so yeah, I do recommend you getting that. But that's the entryway. It just has a mirror, a side table, a coat rack, some places for your mail, and a space for your umbrellas. But now we're back in the kitchen. I really wanted to have these tea canisters with the plants, and I also thought that it would be nice to have some tile, and also those canisters had eliminated themselves for some reason, so I replaced them, and I actually took the opportunity to change this watch. But that's that hutch that I was mentioning. This is from Horse Ranch. I just have some plates in here, and I still felt that this was a bit too tall. So what I did was that I added an extra shelf in here. This one is from Cats and Dogs. I sized it down, and then I just added some mugs. I changed a few of these swatches so that they wouldn't look like the exact same mug, but they're going to be behind glass, so I didn't think that was too much of a problem. So yeah, I just like the idea of having these different mugs here, and now it looks like it's a bit more full and more functional. I also have a plant in here, but I ended up moving it to the living room, though I don't think that's in the video, just in the screenshots. I remembered to add the pet bowls, and then I added this beautiful shelf from Paranormal. This looks like a beautiful antique piece, and the white swatch is one that I don't use that much, I think, because it looks too white for me most of the time. But in here I thought it was very nice, and I also added the tortilla warmer and a fruit bowl in this kitchen. I was a bit bothered by how there was a bit of blank space next to the stove. I know that I don't have to fill every single nook of these apartments, but I just feel like sometimes they look too blank, and I really like having clutter that looks kind of balanced or whatever. This is going to be that living room. That's that TV that I had mentioned. I also used the blanket rack. I don't think I have mentioned it yet, but if you would like to download this build, it is going to be on the gallery. My ID is Veranjo, and I will also have the link in the description so that if it's easier for you to get it that way, you have that option. I thought about using it twice, but it looked a bit weird, so I just have a different bench. This one is from Cats and Dogs. It has a very similar wood tone, so I felt that they looked nice together, and it looks like it's not the exact same item twice. So I like that, and I also added some pillows in here. That's why I also decided to have the basket with the blankets and more pillows from Eco Lifestyle. I have it in this corner. I know that is going to be blocking the knit still see things in a few of these spaces, but this apartment is very hard to decorate with leaving all of those accessible, so I covered the vent in here. It's underneath I think it's underneath that bench or the cat tree, and you also have that electricity box here in the corner. But if they give you any trouble, you would be able to just move stuff around and access them that way. I know it's not ideal, but I also think that these living spaces with that kind of thing aren't ideal either, and it would be realistic for you to move them out of the way. But yeah, I just added a coffee table, this beautiful rug from Horse Ranch. I also added a tray from that back, and I actually changed the swatch on this. Changed the wallpaper of this room. I used the distress one from Lovestruck. It's similar to this one, but it just has a few more colors mixed in, just like some specks of different paints. So I thought that was a bit of... that helped this be a bit less bland, because it was looking a bit too beige in here. But yeah, that's that side table that I was mentioning. I added a gaming console. I thought about adding another one, but this one looks retro, so it felt like it fit this space better. And this was still a cottagecore build, so it felt a bit weird to have more than one gaming console. But I do have that vintage radio from the Cozy Kitsch kit, and this plant from For Rent is so nice. I think that it looks really cute in here. I decided to use the orange pot so that it would be a bit warmer, and the swatch on the blankets was also a bit orange. So that and the TV I thought looked great. And so I decided to just have some books here underneath this table, and I also got this industrial lamp. It's from Crystal Creations, and I thought that it was really nice in there. I added a second lamp in this corner because I didn't know what else you would have in such a space. It's not huge, and I wanted something that could be next to this basket with blankets. So yeah. I also thought that it would be nice to have these tarot cards. I have the one with Princess Cordelia in the countryside with the bunnies. I thought that was very cute for this. And it fit the cottagecore aesthetic. I also got one with the horse and the sun and the cow plant. So I was very happy with how that turned out. I also added these curtains from Cottage Living, but I didn't really like them. I changed them for some curtains from Cats and Dogs, but I don't think that I show how I changed the ones in the living room. But yeah, now we're going to be starting on the bedroom. I really wanted to have a jewelry box because it's such a nice item. And next to it I just have some more personal care items. I wanted to have some makeup, but I decided that this thing probably doesn't do makeup every day, so I added it on the lower part of this furniture piece. And then above that I have this beautiful tapestry, also from Horse Ranch. This is such a nice piece. I thought about using more than one in here, but I didn't think that it fit. So what I did was that I actually have another one in between those doors. And that's also where I have the light switch, because I was adding light switches into this build, but then I forgot to do that. But they are all on the screenshots. I did make sure to go back and add all of those. And now we're going to just be adding some stuff in this storage nook. I thought that it would be nice to have the pipes hidden in this corner, and so I just have stuff like a broom and that beat-up bookshelf from the Basement Treasures kit. I also found a guitar, so I decided to just grab that and throw it in the living room. I don't actually know if I show how I have it next to the archway where there's the lamp and the TV. But that's also in the screenshots. And now we're just going to be picking all of those stuff from Basement Treasures. So we have that bookshelf, we have a box with some clutter, junk, I don't know, and the board games, because I'm very familiar with these kind of spaces, often having like toys and board games that you don't use all of the time. And I also got a few boxes so that it looked like this shelf was in use, and I was very happy with how this turned out. I changed the lighting here so that it looked a bit less... I was going to say more industrial, but I don't know if that lamp looks industrial or not. It's from Cottage Living and it's metal, so yeah. But here in the bedroom I decided to have this beautiful rug from Strangerville. This actually has some really nice retro swatches. They have like a mid-century kind of feel to them. But they also have these more rustic ones, which I thought would be really nice for this space. This one has a few llamas, and the blue and the orange I felt really went well with this, with the bed and all of the inspiration that I had for this apartment. I also got this trunk with books, so you see that there's a lot of books in this space, even if only a few of them are functional. And I really like these pictures from Lovestruck. They look pretty antique and they have a very nice shape to have above a bed. And I also got a lamp in here because I think that it looks a lot nicer if you do this with your bedrooms. Because by default, I often think that the bedside tables look a bit like they're a bit too far from the bed or too far from the walls. So I like to scoot them over and have a standing lamp in there. And then I'm just picking some curtains for this window. As I mentioned, I went with the ones from Cats and Dogs. I went with ones that were a bit wider than the first ones that I had picked, but I was very happy with how this blue swatch sort of matched the swatch on the pillows, and you can see that there's a mouse hole in there, so I think that the only spaces within it still see items are the bedroom and the living room, so I don't know if the archway actually blocks the distance from the vent. But yeah, other than that, you should be able to have your scene be comfortable in the bathroom and the kitchen and dining area. So I hope you liked this video and that you're having a very nice start or end of the year. I don't know when I'm posting this because I'm going to be traveling. But yeah, thank you so very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye everyone!